Number five, I must wear shirts and pants while streaming. That'll be important later. What am I doing here? Why am I live? I'm back. I haven't been on Instagram. I haven't been on any platform really for a while. For those that don't know, the visual mode is something I started quite a while back because I love teaching, but I never really liked the conventional way of teaching that university courses have. So my solution was to start holding workshops. There was no rhyme or reason to what I was putting up. It was just kind of what I found interesting at the time and what I was learning that I thought was worth sharing. The reason I stepped away was I kind of had to align myself and really have a good sense of what it is that my effort and time was going to and what I was doing it for. What came out of that really was I've realized what I've known all along. I've just reinforced it and really actually like made a plan for exercising that now as a career. I'm a 3D artist and a graphic designer. Specifically really enthralled with the content on video games and movies that display amazing architecture, amazing sets, amazing lighting, amazing design, really. So I went to school for architecture, which has given me a pretty robust background in design. Content that I'll be doing is going to revolve around a singular project. Project is going to be what I always dreamt of doing when I was younger. I'm shooting to making a comic book. That is my goal for 2023. I'm going to be making an illustrated comic book that's going to be telling very personal story, but also something that I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with, specifically creative people. Goal to be doing this live, be doing it publicly and stream all my efforts and working on this project has sort of a two-way street type of thing, right? Where if I'm having to go live to work on this project, not only do I have to work on it, but I have to be very intentional when I sit down and work on it. It's time that I focus in on what it is that's going to actually help me accomplish this. Sort of exposing the process is going to be able to help me not just have to look up what it is that I need to know in order to get this done properly, but actually have people call me out on what it is that I'm doing wrong. The other way for the street on this, right, is something I've struggled with a very, very long time, which has kept me from doing this before, is sort of imposter syndrome. Anybody else feeling imposter syndrome, anyone else feeling like there's a ton of great content out there and maybe your stuff you don't feel like is up to par. I feel that way. We all feel that way. Everyone has that, right? So the point I'm trying to make with that really is let me just show that the process for making, I'm going to do my best to put out good work and I hope to do that consistently. If I don't call myself out on it, I'm hoping my audience will eventually call me out on it or immediately call me out on it. That'd be great. And hopefully it can also inspire anybody else who struggles with the same things I struggle as a creative. Being the biggest obstacle in your own path. To me, that makes all this worth it. That is the project. That is why I'm back onto making content. If you're on YouTube or you're on Twitch, you'll catch me doing this live. If you're seeing this on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, what you're watching now is probably a snippet of a YouTube and Twitch live stream. So that's the format I'm going for. I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna work on this thing, and then it's gonna get cut up into smaller bits of content, which will give you the highlights. What kind of format the content is going to have. So I came up with 5 rules as to how I'm going to be doing this. So first, I must stream every day. This is obviously not going to work out, right? Emergencies, gotta live life, might not happen every day. But I'm going to make a point of showing up every day. I would expect the longest format for me to be doing, like an hour, 2 hours of live streaming a day. Shortest, I'll try to come on 15, 20 minutes. Maybe sometimes I'm sharing my iPad screen and just sketching, storyboarding, mood boarding, and that's what it's going to be. Showing up every day, showing the process every day, making sure I stay on top of it, which is something I already do. Channeling it in this way will make sure that all my efforts are always feeding this one project, and I'm not always, or not going on tangents every other day. Rule number 2, sessions will have one of the following formats: workshopping or writing. Because for me to write, I need to get into a very clear headspace. I need to just kind of shut things out, just write basically the struggles of any creative, whether it's fashion, architecture, product designers, graphic designers, motion graphics, UX, UI designers, all you creatives out there, we all know what we can struggle with when we have artistic tendencies or creative tendencies, but we want to be pragmatic and produce and be consistent. So I'm really just exploring themes that help creatives, things that I've found that help me execute. Workshopping, think of it more as sort of like podcast format, where I'll go over ideas, tools, themes, books, history, things that I find that help enrich the story that I'm trying to tell. Following that, next kind of format will be storyboarding. So storyboarding is more like research, right? So I have to quickly sketch out what kind of frames I'm going to be doing, what scene transitions I'm going to be using, how I'm framing the camera, who's in a strip, what characters are coming in, where's the setting happening, what's happening before or after, all that stuff that happens with storyboarding, what aesthetics, what kind of lighting I'm going to be using, all these things. So it sounds like I'm making a movie, but it's really, again, I'm going to be making stills. So they're going to be still renders, and maybe there's some cool format I could do where rather than being stills, it could be a comic book of like small animations or something. But I'm going to be using visual effects software to make this comic book with a combination of illustration. These storyboarding elements are actually really derived from tools that I use to come up with marketing, branding, design concepts that I do for clients. Following that, there's production, right? So once you have it storyboarded, once you have your references set up, you did a research, you kind of have a good idea of where it is that you're going, you can actually sit down and do the work. So that'll be modeling, texturing, lighting, animating, all that fun, good stuff, right? So that's number 3 is production. You'll see me using Blender very, very heavily. That's going to be my main tool. Supporting tools will be Rhino. Maybe I'll dabble in some Grasshopper again. And then the iPad definitely for Procreate. Revamping old files. Now, this one's kind of interesting. Sometimes you just run out of juice, right? You just run out of gas. It's exhausting to work on a really, really large project. So something I've come up with, or something I like to do, which is sort of easy picking sometimes, but can really be fun, creative exercise, is to actually go through old files, look at something you did a year ago, 2 years ago, last week, revisit it, reorganize it, tailor it, level it up, make it fit the new project, right? And that also I think hopefully will give a lot of insight in people on what kind of progression you can make over time, but also give myself insight into, the fact that maybe something I did 6 months ago that I didn't think was very good actually was just 5 or 10 minutes away from being decent or great, right? So I'm excited for that kind of format. That'll feel great. So that's rule number 2. We'll follow one of those 4 types of formats, right? Workshopping, storyboarding, production, and revamping old project. Rule number 3, setting a goal and intention at the beginning of each session, right? So the intention of this session is to just kind of say why I'm back, what my goal is for the end of the year, which is this project. And along the way, the process is going to serve to be able to give a lot of enriching content to you. Rule number 4, there will be a deliverable or output for each session. So not just an intention, right? Not just like, I think that was an important distinction for me to make, is it's not just about sitting down with the intention of working on something or producing on something. Like, I'm going to sit down and storyboard. I'm going to sit down and model something. But it's actually that at the end of the session, something comes out of it. If it's a sketch, if it's a page, crude render, or if it's a clay render, whatever it is. At the end, there has to be something that gets outputted, posted, shared. Number 5, I must wear shirts and pants while streaming. Not only am I announcing why I'm back and I'm announcing I'm here and going over what I just went over with you, but I'm actually going to do all these formats right now. And they're going to be real short. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this useful and think someone else might too, please go ahead and share the video. You can subscribe to see when I go live or other highlight clips from my many sessions. I do software tips, project processes, and different creative tools that can help any person in any design field or creative field. So hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.